We have been, over the last couple of years, we've implemented several different things. We hired a communications specialist to put out the releases of the meetings and news articles on the activities within the county. We added a board meeting for public comment. We added at the committee of the whole meetings, opening the floor up after each topic is discussed for public comment. The meetings are being taped and they can be reviewed for all. We're hosting public forums on the topics that require them. We can do more to improve the communication outreach. We need to make sure we hit all the people within our county. Thank you.
How can we increase the level of public engagement? Well, if you're a Rice County resident watching this video, I would really like to hear from you because clearly you care enough. You care enough to take the time to learn more about commissioner candidates. And I imagine you probably have ideas about how you or people like you could be more engaged in Rice County government. But now for the question. First off, let's be clear about one thing. Lack of involvement does not necessarily mean lack of interest. I've heard people say that Rice County residents just don't care enough to be engaged. They say, well, people could just come and talk at the 8 a.m. public comment period every other Tuesday. And they don't, right? So that must mean that people in Rice County don't have much to say. Well, I've been all around District 1 talking with neighbors, and I can tell you that people here definitely care about what the county is doing. It doesn't take much to remind people about the many ways that county government affects our lives. And much of the time, it's a bigger impact than state government or federal government. So here's how I think about it. If you open a new restaurant and no one wants to come, right? That's not some kind of proof that people aren't interested in eating food, right? Much more likely, it's something you're doing wrong around communication or your hours of operation or what you're charging or the quality of what you're making. So the challenge for Rice County is improving how we do business, getting out into the community, not waiting for people to show up, and not leaving everything to just a few community engagement days each year. And while it's not in the commissioner job description, as your commissioner, I would like to make it a habit to show up where people actually are and not just wait for people to come to me, and use my role as a commissioner to be more welcoming. Unfortunately, the way things are now may actually be driving people away from engagement. For example, it's common practice for the Board of Commissioners to schedule public comment at the last minute, right before a final vote. So even if you do spend the time to thoroughly prepare and practice your 2-minute speech, in the end, everybody knows that there's no real time for that input to receive real consideration. And that's demoralizing. And why come back and do that again? So there's a lot we can do to make meetings and events more relevant, more accessible to the public, and even more enjoyable. I mean, spending time working with neighbors. This really matters if we want a Rice County that actually involves and represents all of Rice County. And I'll leave you with one last thought on that. We haven't had a woman as a commissioner since before the first iPhone was sold. That's not okay.